All right, this one is going to be for sure quite a bit different. Okay. A lot of people think that I'm only interested in the gray hat side of things. And it's honestly a common objection for a lot of people wanting to join the OFM licensing. They think that I'm only into the gray hat things, which is so far from the truth because all I do is talk about avoiding gray hat and just, focusing on traditional marketing. But I think secondarily, a lot of the licensing guys think that I'm only involved in salary creators. And one of the things that's important to note is I have such a large magnitude of experience in so many different businesses. Okay. It doesn't matter what business I touch, it'll turn to gold. And with that, okay, um, I'm gonna break down in this video like exactly how you can scale an agency, like a true agency, using paid advertisements and like what your funnel needs to look like, because this is one of the most important parts of an entire marketing acquisition for this type of service delivery is what your funnel actually looks like, exactly what your offer is. Okay. I'm not going to go too into depth on like how to create this to be the best offer and like do all that stuff, because that's all stuff that like I save for my consultation calls that I have with my licensing guys. But I do want you guys to understand that like if you want to scale an agency, I can show you how to scale an agency better than anybody can show you how to scale an agency. Okay. It's like one of our primary things that we excel at. So anyway, here's what this looks like. First and foremost, you do need to know how to run Facebook ads, okay? You don't necessarily need to use your own face. You can use like UGC, which is just user-generated content, which means you can either generate content yourself or you can hire somebody to be the face of the things. There's a lot of ways that you can do that. There's a lot of like platforms that are specifically built for hiring people specifically to just do your advertisements and whatnot. And so I'm not going to go too into depth on that. Now, if you don't know Facebook ads, please don't be scared. It's not that big of a deal. I do have a Facebook ads guy who can run this entire thing for you. Okay. I am going to save this for my licensing guys. Okay. But I do have a Facebook ads guy who would be able to run this entire pipeline for you. Now, here's what this kind of looks like. So first and foremost, you run Facebook ads directly into what's known as a landing page. Okay. Now your landing page is going to be very, very simple. And you can do this on ClickFunnels. You can do this on Framer. You can do this on 1.5 million different platforms that you can develop something like this on. Okay. So like we have one called bnbcohosting.com, I believe. So here's this. Okay. This right here is a landing page that is specifically kind of like what I'm explaining to you now. All right. And this is for a real estate Airbnb co-hosting offer that we're scaling. And this is kind of what it's going to look like. Okay. That one that I just showed you was built on Framer. You're going to want to build yours on like ClickFunnels if you don't have any experience. If you do want to build it on Framer and make it look very visually pleasing that ClickFunnels really can't do, then licensing guys, you get access to the developer that will build the websites for you. All you need to do is when somebody clicks apply now, the first thing that needs to happen is you just need to capture their email, their name, and their phone number. And this is going to come in handy for what are known as setters. Okay. Now, here's where this gets interesting. You want to keep this page very, very, very simple. And honestly, you're also going to want to have an apply now button directly underneath the testimonies, because human instinct, it's weird, but human instinct is to immediately scroll to the bottom of any page that they go on. And if you notice, when I loaded up B&B co-hosting, the first thing I did was scroll down to the bottom. Why it is, I have no idea. But you need to account for that being a factor and develop your websites in that way. Okay. So anyway, this is kind of what it's going to look like. We scale creators XYZ, or something along the lines of we offer this and we're able to provide this type of transformation in this amount of days. This is exactly who we're trying to target. So for an example, how to stay lean, sharp, energized, and shredded all year around. Okay. In less than 90 days, something. Okay. Creating some kind of, desire or pulling that innate desire, giving the transformation in a certain time frame. Okay, I'll leave it at like kind of like that. I can talk about this shit all day. Anyway, then as soon as they click apply now, you need to pull their name, email, and phone number. The reason why you need to pull their name, email, and phone number is because as soon as they apply, there's what's known as drop-off rates into these next pages. Okay, and we'll kind of talk about that. We'll touch on that here in a little bit. Right here, we have the quick application. So as soon as they put in their name, email, and phone number, they're going to immediately be pushed over into quick application form. Now, where this is important, okay, is this right here is going to allow us to feed data into the Facebook ads, okay, using some kind of lead scoring system. So all of these answers are going to be connected. You can do this in a lot of ways. Anyway, there's what's known as lead scoring, and you're essentially going to score all of the leads based on conversions. Okay. Now, what this means is based on these answers, the creators that end up actually working with you after they book a call and then sign with you, going to feed that specific data back to the pixel, which is then going to know exactly who to continue to push here. Okay. And with that allows you to just spend money only getting in front of people that would actually be interested in booking a call and actually hopping on the call with you. So anyway, this is a little VSL, by the way. This is a little visual sales letter that just pretty much covers, what it is that you're offering. And then this application is you just simply saying, hey, really quickly, before you get to the next step, I do need you to complete a quick little application that just allows me to know a little bit more about you. Also allows us to make sure that we tailor our systems around you personally and specifically, create some kind of idea as to why they need to complete this type form down here, because otherwise they're going to see the type form and then feel a little bit uncomfortable. And so anyway, when they click complete application, it's going to push them down the page to this type form embed where they're going to answer a couple questions, and then they're going to be redirected to the next page, which is just simply a book a call page. Okay. And there's a lot of things you can do on this page. I'm not going to go too into depth on it. Anyway, they're going to simply book a time to meet with you. Okay. Then realistically, you want to push them over to a confirmation page, but then I don't want to go into that. There's this. I'm not trying to gatekeep. This is a massive system. It's not that massive, but there are a lot of fundamental little pieces that just help this system so much. And there's a lot of them. And I'm kind of just trying to give you guys the basics and the understanding, something that can be profitable and really work without going so overtly in depth on it. So anyway, they'll book a call and then they're on your calendar. Okay. So like I said, there's what's known as a drop off period. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to identify where all your bottlenecks are. Let's say you have a 5% conversion on this, okay? Which means 5% of people click on it and actually apply. This can mean one of two things. Either your offer is not good and you need to change your offer, or two, the Facebook ads are just bad ads, because you should have about a 30 to 40% conversion ratio on this page, okay? Which means 30% of people fill this out and get to this page, okay? Then if you notice that you have a 50% drop off rate from here to here, okay, which means let's say you had 1,000 people hit this page, and then you have, of this 1,000 impressions, 300 impressions here, which means you had a 30% conversion ratio. 30% of people opted in. Then over here, let's say you have 150 impressions on this page. It means that you have a 50% drop off from here to here. This is not good. Okay, you want to have less than a 10% drop off. So you want to have a 90% people hit this application and actually complete the application. So there's one of two things. Either one, your application video was not compelling enough for them to do the type form, or two, the questions you were asking on the type form were too personal, or the type form was too long. There's a reason that they did not finish this type form. And you can actually use type forms auto trigger fill. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it will fill the type form based on the questions that they have done and the questions that they haven't done. So for an example, if you have 10 questions and you're noticing that everybody is doing 5 of them and then leaving, it means whatever that 6th question is it's throwing them off. Or it just means that there's too many questions and they're getting bored and they're getting off. So you're going to want to fix that. You want this to be a 30% conversion ratio. So the amount of people that see this, that opt in, you want this to be about 30%. And then the amount of people that come from here to here should be about 90%. 90% of people should complete your application and end up over here. Okay, then they're going to book a call, and then you have what's known as a show rate. You should have about a 90% show rate. Okay, 90% show rate to the actual call. Now, a lot of you guys are not going to have a 90% show rate, all right? Because you need to have certain email sequences that are emailed to the creators, essentially. And these emails are going to pretty much inspire them to show up. Alongside that, you can also do what's known as a confirmation page. So as soon as they book a call, it takes them to another page that is a very important page that they read, and you emphasize that with videos and text and etc. And there are small little things that you can do that increase the show rate. Alongside that, automated messages to their phone. You can use tools like Link app, LINQ, that will get them to show up to the call. Okay, alongside that, you should always have a setter. As soon as somebody opts into this, a setter needs to reach out to these creators immediately within less than 60 seconds, okay? Now, we use HubSpot for this entire operation, and I'm going to kind of quit talking about this really quickly because I can just talk about this all day. Now, really where this is cool and where this is interesting is you can scale a massive agency doing this, okay? You can put your brand, your company, your offer in front of creators that are doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Okay. And you can sign them for 30%, 25, 30%. And you can continue to do this over and over and over. And for every sign that you get, you can then use some kind of affiliate marketing where as soon as, let's say, Jessica signs, you then offer her $5,000 for every creator that she refers that's making over $30,000 a month or $20,000 a month. And she's going to then be your like massive lead magnet into pushing these creators into your funnel and getting you a bunch of clients. And the way you're going to have those people that she recommends do, you're going to push them through this funnel here. And the reason why you're going to push them through this funnel is because it's going to be able to understand exactly who would be interested in your management and in your offer. It's going to condition this pixel. You're feeding it better data, so it's going to know who to retarget better. Okay. Now, like I said, this is the simplified version of this. This right here in and of itself would be very profitable. Let me say that. But I know a lot of strategies and tactics that make this so overtly profitable and wild that you would not imagine, like running a Venus flytrap or a reverse Venus flytrap, certain types of retargeting campaigns, certain types of hammer me ad strategy. There's a lot of things that we can implement that make this thing work even better, that make you even more money and spiral a massive affiliate network of creators and whatnot. So anyway, if you want to scale your agency, this is probably the best way to do it alongside like some of the other things that we've talked about, creating like the fake accounts and whatnot. And then the last thing I'll note is you want to spend at least $100 a day on ad spend. Okay. So if you don't even have $100 that you can spend a day, don't even do it. Okay, it's not gonna be worth it because you need to spend money in order to make money. But if you're making $5,000 a month, it'd be worth you putting $3,000 of it into Facebook ads, really conditioning a pixel, and then pushing some good traffic into your offer. You'd make a lot of fucking money, and you can create all of this stuff completely for free. Not for free. This whole entire setup is probably like couple $100. It's really not that expensive. Maybe $200 a max a month because you have the type form and then you have the click funnels if that's what you decide to do. And then Facebook ad spend is going to be your biggest one, but you would be able to recoup your ad spend very quickly. And then there's other things that you can do to just increase that back end LTV on your clients. A lot of people only take, this is fun. This is starting to get a little too saucy, so I'll kind of relax here, but a lot of people will, take their 25% of the creator, not really realizing that they can sell them other things. Okay. And increase that back end LTV quite a bit, increase the AOV. There's a lot of things that you can do to soak up a lot of money out of these creators. So I'm going to leave it at that. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Okay.